Hello everyone and welcome to another video here at Jakaris Finance. Like always, make sure you are hitting that like, subscribe, and hitting the post notification bell so you will know when we are dropping new videos just like the one you're watching today. And today we are in for something special. We are going to talk about how to make $1,000 a day trading stocks. Now, one thing I want you guys to be aware of is that we are going to give you a 30,000 square foot view of exactly how you can make $1,000 a day trading stocks. For the purpose of this video, I'm not going to get overly technical because I know that there's a wide range of type of investors that are watching this video now. You're going to have investors that are newbies and beginners. You're going to have intermediate investors, and you're going to have seasoned investors as well. So with that being said, we're going to talk about things that anyone at any level of trading can quickly use to be able to make this kind of money in the stock market. Now, with that being said, let's go ahead and jump right into it. Now, when we're talking about making $1,000 a day in the stock market, there's some things that we're going to have to think about. The first thing that we're going to have to do is we're going to have to examine the opportunities that are available to us in the stock market. Now, there's a couple of different ways you can go about doing this. So I'm going to give you more than one way because there's more than one way to skin a cat, right? You know the old saying. Now, what I tend to do is I tend to look at two time frames. I look at pre-market and I look at when the market is actually open. There's a lot of people that like to trade after hours as well. For the people that do, that's an option as well. But for the sake of time with this video, because I like to keep the video short enough where you can hear the information and go and apply the information, I don't want to bog you down with too much time. So we'll talk about pre-market as well as active market. And we're really going to talk more about active market more than anything. I'll briefly touch on pre-market and I'll give you a little nugget about aftermarket or after the close of market. Now, with pre-market, what we tend to want to look at is we want to tend to look at stocks that have momentum, stocks that are moving and are moving relatively quickly. One thing that you want to do is you want to make sure that there's enough volume in the move, okay? So you want to look for stocks that have good movement. And when I say good movement, I like looking at things that are already up 20 to 30% in pre-market right off the top, because that's going to give you enough juice for it to continue to move, okay? And what we want to do is we want to make sure that there's enough volume in the move for you to be able to get in and get out. And I'm going to give you an example. The type of movement you want to look at is you want to look at stocks that have already traded thousands of shares, if not tens of thousands of shares in pre-market. That gives you a really good indicator that that particular stock is primed to move, okay? This is very, very important because once we get into active market, what tends to happen in the normal market hour, especially the first 30 minutes of the market being open, is you see a tremendous amount of volatility, especially in stocks that already have movement that has already begun in pre-market. So these are the things that you're looking for. These are the things that you're looking at because you want to kind of build a case to say, okay, this particular stock looks like it's ready to move, okay, and move big. What I tend to do when I have these kinds of situations, I look for stocks that are set to break out. That is another indicator, okay? And what I mean by a breakout is this. Let's say the stock is ABC, okay? And ABC has been pretty flat for the last 2 weeks. and then there's some news that comes out, and so it gets the attention of other investors. Okay, and then let's say the stock is trading at $10 a share before that point, and in pre-market you see it move from $10 a share to $12 a share. Okay, so we have some movement. That's great. That's roughly about 20%. Okay, so that's a good sign. Now, what you tend to see happen if you have a true stock that's set to break out and give you that opportunity to make that $1,000 or even more in a day, by the way, because sometimes you can make more than that. But what you're looking for is you're looking for it to break key levels, okay? And as it breaks through the key levels, let's say in pre-market it went from $10 to $12, and then in active market, it kind of settled back down to around 1175, 1150 range and begin to curl, okay? So when you're looking at actual chart, you want to see the curl movement back upwards, okay? So you see it go to 1150 and then it goes back up to 1175, 1185, 1190. At that point, it's looking to break the high from the pre-market of $12. When you see it break that high, that's the opportunity for you to get in. That is where you are going to maximize the movement of that stock. And then at that point, what you need to understand pretty quickly is, what is your exit strategy? You have to know it honestly before you go in, okay? If you understand what your exit strategy is before you go in, that's basically the key link to the whole equation. Because let's say the stock breaks out and it breaks out 2 points. So in other words, it broke out the 12 level and it moved all the way to $14 per share. So if you got in at the 12, that is $2 per share that you made. So if you were trading 500 shares, you just made $1,000 on that trade. And normally these kinds of breakouts will happen and you'll make this type of money in a matter of minutes. Literally, I've done it dozens and dozens of times, okay? Where you see something that's set to break out, you get in, right? And then the stock will move 1 point, 2 point, 3 points, whatever it is. You lock in your profit, and then you're all set to go. So that's pretty much the way that it works. It's pretty simple. And that's just one strategy. Now, there's about 5 different strategies that I use in trading in general. But this one, I feel like, is the easiest to see. It's the easiest to understand. And it's one that is not as risky as some of the other strategies that we can talk about. But it has a high probability of success. And the best part about it is that you're able to see if in any particular situation that the breakout isn't breaking the way that you want it. For example, if you see in that same scenario when it begins to curve up and it goes from, in the same example, $11.50, and let's say it only goes to $11.60. And then it goes back down to $11.50 and $11.40 and $11.30. Well, guess what? You were waiting for the $12 breakout point. And since it never got to the $12 breakout point, you never got into the trade. And because you never got into the trade, you didn't lose money. So that's something that is extremely, extremely important, because if it doesn't get to the level that you're looking to enter in, then you never take the trade. So there's a 2-part scenario here. There's one that shows you, okay, when it hits the level, that's a high probability chance for you to enter the trade, and in return, you are now primed to make that $1,000. If it never reaches the level, then that's not the trade for you, and you seek the next trade that has those similar qualities. And it's as simple as that, guys. That is how you make $1,000 a day trading stocks. Like always, I hope that you stayed all the way to the end of the video, and make sure you're hitting that like, subscribe, and post notification bell so we can drop videos for you just like this on the next go. So next time, guys.